yeah, maybe the few team competitions I'd done back in Australia, and I think I was coming off 2 or 3 years of uh, injuries. I think at that point I'd had I'd had surgery on both my ankles and both my wrists within a 2 or 3 year period before going over to America. So I think it was a bit of an adjustment period while I got my body right and kind of got used to what college gymnastics is all about. Um, and then so after college, graduated and moved back to Australia, and I moved to Canberra at the AIS, the Australian Institute of Sport, in 2019. And so for me, moving back, the decision was, where's going to give me the best chance to try and qualify to the Olympics that year. So World Championships in 2019, that was the qualification to Olympics.
I'll bring out.
So I had to do everything I could in that, that final kind of 7 or 8 months to qualify. So moved back to Canberra, trained at the AIS, and just put my head down and put everything into that year. So went over to Stuttgart in Germany, and I knew what I had to do. I had to come top 8 at World Championships to qualify. And I had done, previously I'd come 2017, I came 25th. 2018 came 11th. And then 2019, I knew I needed to make that jump into the top 8. So I know it was within my ability because, I think 2018, I was just out of the mix with maybe a few mistakes. If I could fix those up and put a few more skills in, pick up the difficulty a little bit, then I knew it was within my reach. And I think more than anything, I think from an early age, I've always had this belief, rightly or wrongly, that I was one of the best in the world. And then I think that belief, when you're going up against all these Chinese, Japanese, American incredible gymnasts that you've watched online, you've seen at competitions like 100 times and idolized. I think that belief kind of put me in a good stead and just mental frame to try and bring it to the best guys and prove that I'm one of them. So 2019 was able to make that leap finally and smashed an awesome set in qualification and made it into the high bar final, which was huge for me. It was a pretty cool memory. So I think I was the second day of qualifications in the second subdivision. And so after my sub, I think I had another 2 subdivisions after mine. So I'm waiting for 2 more competitions. I think I'm sitting in 5th place at the time. So I'm waiting for 2 more competitions of awesome gymnasts to go after me and waiting to find out if I'm going to get knocked out of the finals or knocked out of Olympics, which is pretty nerve-wracking. Sitting in the stands, a nervous wreck for most of that time. Managed to hold on and qualified in 7th and qualified to Olympics right then and there. And that was certainly one of the best gymnastics memories I've got. Certainly up there. So 2020 rolls around, COVID year. I think I'm overseas at Gymnastics World Cup in Azerbaijan, so it's in Europe. And I've just qualified to a high bar final there, and we're back at the hotel, and everyone starts going crazy on the phone and trying to jump on the first flight out of Azerbaijan back home. And we're like, what's going on? And then, basically we're hearing like Australia's going to close the borders and this and that. And so the competition gets cancelled. We jump on the first flight home, probably at like 5 or 6 a.m. that very next morning. Fly back to Canberra and then straight into a kind of AIS quarantine for 2 weeks. And then, in that 2 weeks is when yeah, kind of starting to process what COVID is and what it meant. And that's when we kind of got the call that Olympics would be delayed a year. Um, and I guess it was delayed a year, but there's still so much uncertainty over whether it even go ahead. So yeah, it was quite a tough time mentally to kind of process that. Yeah, the dream may not come true in the end after all that work, which was yeah a tough one to kind of get the head around. But um, yeah, like we kind of had that period where everyone, like the whole country, everyone around the world, we're all kind of locked out of the gyms like we are right now. And I think I kind of used that period of, I think it was maybe 2 months for me in Canberra. Yeah, just to kind of reset um, and yeah, take a little mental break while staying fit. I think at the time I always kind of hated long distance running, but I started getting into a bit of running and like mountain bike riding and just yeah, a few other creative ways just to try and stay fit and um, yeah, kind of keep the wheels turning while yeah, while the gyms are closed. Like I think I knew like my skills were always going to be there still. Like you guys right now, your skills are all going to be there when you get back in the gym. Yeah, you just got to know this. It's just might take a little time to kind of get the feeling back, but it is there, and it's something you guys have all worked very hard on, I'm sure, to work for all those skills. They'll be there when you get back. It might just take a few weeks, but yeah, it was the same. It was the same for me. It was kind of a bit of a good mental refresh. And then yeah, when the gyms opened up, kind of hit the ground running. Tried to use that next year or so into the Olympics to increase my start score and try and contend for a medal. That was the goal. Yeah, so kind of meant I was playing around with a few new skills, trying some crazy things in and out of the gym sometimes, just kind of pass the time and keep things fresh. But yeah, everything was going quite well. Obviously, you have your ups and downs, even for me in that period. But yeah, up until about maybe 5 or 6 weeks out from the Olympics the following year, I was managing to stay mostly injury free. And then the final kind of 5 or 6 weeks hit and everything started to go a bit awry. So I think 6 or 7 weeks out, I had a big crash off high bar and hurt my knee quite bad. And yeah, kind of a bit of a setback there. But being a leg injury, I was still able to swing a little bit, which is for the most part not too bad. But then a few weeks later, going for a catch on the bar, hit my thumb straight into the bar and fractured it. So yeah, it was another kind of week and a half, almost off swinging, and then trying to learn to swing again with a plastic brace on my thumb while preparing for the biggest comp of my life was a fun, stressful experience. And then yeah, and then so started to get back on top of that and get a few things rolling again, start to get some fitness. And then I had another big stack and had some partial tears in my forearm and my elbow. And that was a week out from leaving the Olympic Games. So was kind of off high bar for another couple of days. And then when I did get back, I had my elbow completely strapped up, super tight. So that's always a kind of tough one to get used to as well when you're used to having full range of motion. But yeah, like that's just the way it kind of went. And in those kind of moments, it was super tough. But yeah, it was just kind of realizing, like trying to put it behind you, work on what you can do, not what you can't control. And in those moments, I couldn't control my injuries, what was hurting, how many days of training I had. All I could focus on was what I could at the time, which I just put everything into trying to do as much mental routines as I could, and mental numbers and visualizations, and kind of get that feeling in my head down. All the numbers that I couldn't do in the gym, I was trying to do in my head. And yeah, so finally the day comes around and we're off to the Olympics. So fly out to the games. I think we probably takes us like 3 or 4 hours to get through the airport when we land, I think, getting through all the checkpoints. Finally get to the village at 1 a.m., settle in, wake up, get to our room. Got this giant green and gold suitcase waiting for us. Something that I've been dreaming about as a young athlete for a long, long time. So going through that was like going through 10 Christmases combined, I reckon. Certainly a special moment. But so get into the village, got about a week to get ready for qualification. And the first few days were not too bad. They weren't great by any means, still kind of getting over that elbow injury. Like training didn't go 100% according to how I would have liked, but either had my preparation. The mindset was it doesn't matter at that point. Qualification day came around, and like the final 6 weeks doesn't matter when like I just reflect and had over 20 years of doing what I do. Like the final 6 weeks, I'm not going to let that affect me. So I could have let it stress me out a lot, but tried to just focus on task at hand. What few things do I need to do to hit my set, and that's all that matters. So qualification came and managed to hit a PB. So the routine I did then was one that I've been struggling with the past 5 or 6 weeks with the injuries. I think I'd only got 1 or 2 hit routines in training before competing that qualification set. So when I landed, it was just a crazy, overwhelming feeling of just relief more than anything. And at that point, I don't think I cared if I didn't make finals. I was just happy that I put something as close to my best out there that I could on the biggest stage. So hitting that set and nailing that routine was probably the highlight of my Olympics, I would say. And then that night, kind of watching the final results come in and making the kind of half keeping an eye on the results, half just trying to keep my mind off of things and playing a bit of table tennis back at the village and chilling out. The results came in and made that final, and it was a lot to take in. So first dream was making the games. Second one was making a high bar final. There's 2 ticked off right there. Probably struggled to sleep for a few days after that, that's for sure. But and then 10-day wait till high bar finals. Honestly, it was almost a bit too long of a break. It's kind of a lot to maintain your peak form for that period of time. And I think it probably hurt me more than helped me having to wait that long, even though it was cool to be around the village a bit longer and soak up the experience a bit longer. But I was ready to go any day, and it just kind of dragged out a little bit in the end. And unfortunately made a bit of a mistake in the final and missed my connection, and then was overthinking things a bit after that. And when you're overthinking things, you just kind of react a bit slower. I think it's better, especially in gymnastics, your muscle memory knows what to do. It's better to not overthink more than anything. So kind of missed a few things, and it's the way it goes sometimes. But it was an incredible experience, and it certainly lived up to everything I'd worked for all those many, many years. And that was a bit of my journey, a bit of my Olympic experience, guys. I'll hand it over to you guys for some questions. Think Morgan, have you got the questions or yeah?
Yeah, I've got the questions here. So we had quite a lot of questions from our gymnasts.
Yeah.
So I'll just start with, so we've got Matilda, one of our WAG4 kids. Matilda asked, do you want to compete in the Commonwealth Games next year?
Yeah, I would love to. So I think at the moment I'm kind of just playing it by ear. So there's been a few changes in the code that I'll have to learn a few new skills, change up my routine a fair bit. But yeah, if the body's still fit and firing, then I would love to give Com Games a crack and try and bring home a nice shiny gold medal for Australia.
Yes, definitely. And we've got a question from Heidi, one of our Gym Star 4 kids. If there was one piece of advice you could give to someone who wanted to be an Olympian, what would it be?
I think you just gotta persevere. Gymnastics, there's so many ups and downs in the sport, obviously literally, but also mentally. I think there's so many times I could have thrown in the towel, things weren't going my way. I was just having years of kind of injuries and setbacks. But I think, being able to persevere and kind of push through those and learn from each experience is something I think every Olympian kind of goes through. There's a lot of like other athletes, even more so than myself, have gone through even more adversity and made the Olympics. And I think it's telling that, everyone has their challenges, but you just got to know, like, you just got to be able to try and push through as much as you can, learn from any mistakes and failures, and use those moving forward, and just try and improve from them all.
Yeah, awesome. A couple of kids were curious about your time at Knox. So what levels were you at Knox?
So I think I did level 3 to 7 at Knox.
Oh, no way. Where did you do your level 10? Was that?
Level 10. I think that was at HBC. Yeah.
And who was your coach at the time at Knox?
At Knox. So I had Ting, my first coach. I'm not sure, is he still coaching or is he retired now?
No.
Retired. And then I had Tim Robertson, who's the Mornington Peninsula head coach. Who else did I have? Those were the main two. Maybe a few others here and there.
Yeah, all good stuff. Question from one of our coaches, Gordon. What new skills are you working on or planning to add to your routine?
So with the code changing, you can only do a certain amount of each release. So for me, I was doing 4 Kovac skills. Now I can only do 2, potentially 3. So kind of, I'm probably just going to have a bit of a play with a few different things and kind of see what sticks and what I'm feeling is the way forward. But I'll probably have to do a few catch-ups in there as well as Kovac skills, or putting like a pagan in, which is a double front half turn, catch the bar.
I was going to say, explain a couple of those skills.
They're all kind of release skills. The Kovacs ones are the double flipping, catch the bar, and the catch over ones are where you throw backwards and go over the bar backwards. It's just going to have to be a bit more probably variety than I've had in the past. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, basically let go, flip and catch.
Yeah.
What was your favorite country, and like what competition was it to compete in? That's a question from Oscar, who's one of our Mag Folk gymnasts.
Cool. So Japan is actually always a favorite country of mine to compete in prior to the Olympics. I think I competed there 2 or 3 times beforehand. And the most recent, I won a World Cup in 2019. But other than that, I think Netherlands was a really cool place. I wish I got to see more of, but yeah, I had a really cool comp against. It was kind of like Australia versus Netherlands versus Spain versus a few other countries in like the northern part of the Netherlands, and it was just beautiful there, and yeah, it's a cool competition.
Another question from one of my 4 kids, Toby. Toby wanted to know, do you do any other sports while you're not training for the gym?
Yeah, I go out and shoot hoops like almost every weekend when I get the chance. A bit harder in lockdown now, but even in Canberra, I think I just put my headphones on, go to a local court and shoot hoops for like an hour or so. Yeah, it's just kind of like one of my favorite things to do outside the gym, and just take my mind off things. And I'm a bit of a basketball fanatic, so yeah, anytime I get a chance, I'm out there.
Nice. What else? How many hours a week did you train like at your peak?
I think at the peak it was probably about 28, but yeah, it's kind of differed over the years, and I don't think like hours are indicative of like success necessarily. I think it's what you do in your hours. So
Sure.
in college, we actually trained like quite a bit less, but I think I probably improved the most there. So yeah.
We've got a question from Verusha, one of our work 4 girls. What skill did you really struggle with at first, but now it's like one you can do really well?
Yeah, I think I would say some of the hanging skills on P-bars. So one of them is called like a falga to handstand. So you go through like a basket and then you kick up and catch in handstand. I think I always struggled with that skill and was worried about slipping off. But it's that skill and like that skill with a half turn is 2 of like the easiest skills for me now. So I think it's always an interesting one with gymnastic skills. You can figure out that one little cue, figure out how to do your grip better, and it can just change everything, and that skill will like click for you eventually.
Yeah, nice. Like during competitions, if you get nervous, how do you like control your nerves?
That's a good one. Like I think even at the highest level, everyone's still got nerves. You just gotta realize that. But I think for me, it's always just realizing kind of just being conscious of what my body's doing. So if my heart's beating really quickly, or my hands are shaking, or I'm just feeling really like out of sorts, I just go through a bit of like a breathing routine and just calm everything down, get my heart rate being nice and smooth, and then I just focus on what I can do. So I'm trying to stay in the moment as much as I can. I don't care what happens in the future. I don't care what happened in the past. I'm just trying to do what do I need to do right now to make what I'm doing right now, and that's all that matters. And then everything else is kind of secondary. So I think just trying to stay in the moment is probably the best advice I can give.
Yeah, definitely. What's helped you motivate you to compete, especially like this year with like COVID and everything, and how have you been keeping motivated?
So I guess up until kind of now, I had Olympic Games to prepare for, but maybe in 2020, when that was still a long way away and I didn't know if it was even going to go ahead, that was a bit of a tough period for motivation for me, for sure. But I think you just got to realize what are your bigger goals, and like what are those goals going to take, and you just kind of break it down into like day by day. Don't like you have those long-term bigger goals, but don't let them hang over your head and weigh you down. It's just break it down into day by day. How can I improve today? How can I have fun today? And yeah, kind of similar to that kind of staying in the moment part.
Nice. Well, that's all the questions we have from the Google Forms. I can see a couple of people have raised their hand. So is there anyone that wanted to ask a question? I've got Natasha Clark. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
What was your favorite part about being at the Olympics? Like your favorite memory?
I think probably walking into the Australian building at the Olympics. So in the village, each country almost has their own building. For us, we probably had almost our whole building to us, and then we had a few other countries in there as well. But so the Australian Olympic team had kind of decked out our whole building and kind of green and gold everything and all things Australia. And we had a weights gym, we had recovery, we had almost like a small dining hall in our building. But yeah, just kind of walking into that Australian building, and I think we just had like such a good vibe around the headquarters, and everyone was happy to have a chat with you, hang out. You're all part of this one team, and I think you just feel like a overwhelming kind of sense of pride to be there in that moment. And I think realizing that was something that really stuck with me as well. So really loved that.
Nice. Thanks for your question, Alexa. We've got Olivia. Do you want to unmute yourself? Olivia Morford.
There
you go.
What do you eat when you're training, and what do you like as a treat after you compete?
So like I guess as a general kind of rule, I eat fairly healthy in general, but I don't have any specific diet. I just make sure I'm eating at the right times before and after training, and those are the right kind of foods. So getting in some carbs and energy before training, and then some recovery afterwards with some protein, high protein foods. But before a competition, I'll usually have, kind of like a fairly healthy high carb meal a few hours beforehand for some energy. And then if I need to, some snacks and fruit, maybe some lollies during the competition if I want like a little bit more energy. But after competition, I'm a big chocolate fan, so I'll probably finish a whole block of chocolate or something.
Nice. Good stuff. Lily Ann, do you want to unmute yourself?
How many gold medals have you won this year at the Olympics?
Unfortunately, I didn't win any gold medals at the Olympics, but maybe next time.
Good stuff. Helena, you want to unmute yourself?
What's your favorite event, or the event that you think that you're the best at?
So my favorite and best event is probably a high bar. But I love to train a few of the other events as well, just for fun and fitness, like pommel and P bars. So they're probably my top three.
Neve, you want to ask your question?
What helped you push yourself to success?
That's a good question. I think I was always fairly internally or self-motivated. But I think, just kind of setting your goals, like what do you want to do? Maybe like writing it out as well, rather than just keeping it in your head, I think is always a good way to do it. So it just kind of keeps it in your vision, keeps it in your focus. But then yeah, kind of break it down as well, and set yourself some short-term goals. Like, what do you want to do when you get back in the gym? What do you want to do at your first competition back from lockdown? Yeah, those kinds of things. So you want to kind of give yourself some stuff to work towards and have a think of a few fun things to do as well as the competitive side. So you can't always be super strict on yourself. You got to have some fun with it and get creative. Otherwise,
Nice.
have some fun.
Thanks. Mina? Oh, you just need to unmute yourself first. Oh, can you unmute? Oh, there you go. There you go.
Why did you choose gymnastics?
Why did I choose gymnastics over other sports? Is that, yeah. Kind of going back to like what I was saying earlier. I think when I was younger, I just kind of fell in love with like flipping around and doing some cool skills and doing some skills that no one else could do. Just kind of fell in love with that feeling, and that feeling of you can never be satisfied. You can always there's always another skill you can do, another routine you can do. So just kind of the feeling of a lot of options to move forward with.
Awesome. Nice one. Heidi?
If you could go back and change something that you may have done, what would it be?
Most recently, probably would have done a different high bar routine in finals. But otherwise, I don't have too many regrets. I think like I have a lot of times that I have failed or underperformed, but I think each one of those times I've probably learned something anyway, and kind of moved forward and gotten better from those times that didn't quite go to plan. It's kind of the way gymnastics goes. You can't it goes up and down, so you gotta, when the downs come, you just got to take them and learn from them and move forward, and then use them to hit those highs.
Thanks for your question, Heidi. We've got Sansa. Do you want to unmute yourself?
How do you know when to catch the bar when you're up in the air?
On quite a few of them, I can see the bar, but I feel like a lot of times when you've done something so many times, your muscles just know what to do. So I feel like I just have an idea in my head of where the bar is the whole time. So my muscles know what to do, so they're reaching for the bar already before I even think about reaching for the bar.
Good stuff. Lila and Violet.
Hi. Have you got any tips for like training at home?
I think trying to mix things up. So like rather than kind of do the same program every day or every week, try and get creative and put a few different things in there you wouldn't normally do. But I think always try and write your programs out, get some ideas from your friends, from your teammates, jump on the same call together. I think there are a few good ideas, but for me, I just like to try and keep it new every time and set little challenges and mix up the workouts and stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Anne? You on?
Go ahead, Karis.
Are you guys ready to ask a question, Anne? I think Anne did actually put it in the chat, but Anne is one of our parents to two gymnasts we have.
Oh yeah.
And she just said, as a mum of two gymnasts, what would be the best thing I can do to help support the kids? Like, how did your parents help you through your journey as a gymnast?
I think, yeah, like more than anything, my parents just did never put any pressure on me for anything. Like, all they did was just, yeah, support me as much as I wanted to do the sport. If I wasn't having fun, they always say, if you're not having fun with it, if you don't enjoy it, then yeah, let us know. Like, it's always, yeah, something else to do. But more than anything, they were just, yeah, support me in like every way. Like, I couldn't have asked for, yeah, better parents in that sense. Always kind of looking out for what I was eating at younger ages. Yeah, driving me to training, driving me home. Yeah, but yeah, I think more than anything, they never pressured me to do anything, never pressured me for any results or anything. They would just support what I did. As long as I was having fun with it, then that was cool with them, and they'll do everything to help me with my goals. So yeah, it wasn't anything like crazy in particular, but just, yeah, super supportive.
Yeah, awesome. Ben, Sam, and Karis.
How did you stop your hands from getting hurt on the bar?
I think you just gotta sometimes know, you'll eventually kind of learn where your limit is with your hands. You obviously want to try and get all your turns in, but yeah, it's also good to know when your hands can't take anymore. So before they rip, you try and figure out how to not take that last turn before they rip. Easier said than done, but otherwise I would usually put some moisturizer on my hands after training every night, so they don't get too dry. When they get too dry, they start to crack and rip. So that's one thing I still do today to keep them in good shape.
Good advice there for a lot of our competitive kids in handguards as well, in grips.
Yeah.
Good. Alexa?
Olympics, who do you think was your main competition?
Definitely the Japanese guys, and then the Netherlands guys were super strong as well, and historically have been in the medals and around the top 3 guys. So a few of those guys were definitely my biggest competition.
Levi and Caleb?
What are you going to do after gymnastics?
So at the moment, I'm studying to be a physio. So I'll probably be helping other athletes with their injuries when I finish up. But I think I'll probably also just be, yeah, staying super active and yeah, getting outdoors and maybe playing in a few other sports, and yeah.
Kira?
How did you feel when you were like there?
Like in the competition, yeah. Yeah, so I think I was probably more nervous before I even got to the arena than when I got to the arena. Once I kind of got to the competition and started warming up, I was good. Like, all the nerves kind of settled. My body knew what to do, done everything 100 times over. And yeah, so in that moment, I was just kind of trying to soak it up and enjoy it. I didn't know if I was going to make finals or not, so it could have been one and done. Could have been, yeah, it could have been my first and last Olympic competition, so I just wanted to kind of enjoy it.
Mitchell, Isabella, and Jacinta.
How long did it take you to be good at gymnastics?
That's a good question. It kind of depends, I guess. I think early on, always kind of loved what I was doing, so won a few competitions as a junior. And then, yeah, when I moved into seniors, I definitely did not win a lot. Kind of took me a little bit to, I was always fairly talented and could get skills quite quickly, but it took me a long time to become a good competitor and put it together in competition under pressure. So it's different for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Chloe.
When you were a kid, who was your favorite Olympic gymnast?
I think if you know him, it was definitely Epke Zonderland. So he was another high bar gymnast that won 2012 Olympics, and I think he's won 3 or 4 world championships on high bar. And yeah, just someone I always looked up to as a gymnast and the person. So he was definitely the old childhood hero.
And Alexa, you got another question?
Yes. So what did you do that helps you become really good at gymnastics?
I guess one of the things that I still do is all of the kind of new skills I'm trying to learn. If I see them online anywhere, I always record them onto my phone and try and get a few different people doing that same skill, and then record all my attempts and kind of just break it all down, compare what I'm doing, what they're doing, what parts of the skill do I think are the most important. And yeah, I think with like everything online right now, you can kind of use it to your advantage. And yeah, kind of look up all those skills you want to do and figure out what exactly other people are doing to make them, and try and copy that as much as you can sometimes.
Nice. We have a question from one of our WAG Gym Star coaches, Kate. And she just said, because of lockdowns, our comp kids haven't been able to compete this year. So how do you keep them motivated? Obviously, you've said how you keep yourself motivated, but like, is there a way you could, give coaches help to motivate their kids?
Could be as simple as I'm sure you guys are probably doing like Zoom classes, Zoom workouts, but could be as simple as just kind of adding in some kind of way to make the class into a bit of a competition, something they can prepare for, get ready for, kind of compete against each other and have a bit of fun with, rather than just kind of learning a few skills and staying fit. Probably just try and add in some challenges and competition type stuff in there, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we've got 2 more questions. We'll just take these last 2. Sansa, you want to give your question?
Do you feel scared when you're up high?
Not anymore. Sometimes if I'm doing a scary skill, I might, but no, I think it's like the more you do anything, the more comfortable you become with it. So I do a lot of skills and gymnastics on a high bar, so I'm having fun up there and enjoying it.
And final question, Helena.
Are you just a gymnast, or do you also coach as well?
In Canberra, I was doing a little bit of coaching. I was coaching some adult gymnastics. So yeah, kind of a few people that are coming in to try gymnastics for the first time at a later age. So I was coaching a few of those guys, but I haven't done a ton. I just kind of coach my teammates as I go along in the gym most of the time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tyson. We've got a lot of kids here who look up to you. So you've given us a real good insight of how your gymnastics journey has gone. So yes, a massive thank you and all the best for the future.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Good to see all your faces. Hopefully when lockdown finishes, I'll pop on over the gym and say hi.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for having me, guys. Catch up.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyson.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.